Would y'all like to see a dead body? His name's Franco. Though I wish I kept him alive. He'd have made a good friend. Don't look at me. I'm ashamed. Everyone know I did real good. Not like Finstock. Poof. Poof. Okay, Tom. Okay, Tom. Enough with the commercials. Mommy. What up, random rockers? That's Tommy. Oh boy. Anytime he does a match, he always shows up. I tell you. I'll tell you. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that very long after I get a hoodies on when it gets cold. But anyways, regardless, I'm gonna talk about some matches. Hopefully, there's enough lighting you can actually see what's written since it's in black. That's what's happening so far in the standings, or at least in the tournament. Before we talk about that, some I didn't get to talk about because I gotta wait till tomorrow to do it. That's why I had to wait the rest of the week. And plus, I'm still working, and once again, to music people who've watched my channel for that as well, I'm still working on stuff. I want to do something special with the Black Sabbath thing. Also, there's a lot of albums here. Like, a lot. I mean, a lot. Some I may not be able to talk as much about on or have enough of a proper say to talk about them. So yeah, there's something that's to look forward to. I might throw a specific movie review out. But no, it's not Tenet, or I'm not one of those lucky few people, and I don't think there's anything in Missouri that has Tenet, so. But I would definitely get a chance to check it out if I had the chance, so I could spread the word, and who knows how many people would have come to see that because I got to see what. But who knows? But anyways, not here for that. This is Schmoedown Rocks, you Schmoedown Rockers. That's for the other random rockers. But anyways. We're going to start with Fresh Friday's match, though it seems what happened in these past two matches in these past couple days, as of recording this, may have played a part, since they were clearly pre-recorded before that match from the last Friday, which probably is why it worked out better for them to decide to release their round one matches anyway, before it goes public, so at least that it looks like what actually did kind of come across, in the sense that those came out first, and they weren't being talked about as team champs, although I don't think they used that in the promos. So, well, they had to keep that out of the promos because it wasn't public yet. So, by the point of this video, it will be. So, being shown publicly, it will be, hopefully. Or eventually down the line by the time I do decide to post. Oh, anyways, regardless, the matches themselves, we're going to start with... My God, not only that, but as a Who's the Boss fan, what the fuck? And it's not good momentum looking like going into it, though I do wonder if the match I'm guessing it's pre-taped. This coming Friday's match, which I will definitely be doing separate from the tournament matches. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because since it's already going to be public, there's no point in releasing the rest of this stuff. And who knows when we're going to get another... Since we're having the tournament keep going on right now, the way it's been going, I don't know if and when we're going to get another pay-per-view thing after this coming Fridays. So it's better I do that video separately and get that released anyway by Monday, probably. That's my uploading schedule, so if you know that. And anyways, yeah, I shouldn't review by hand. As much, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. I'm not... as much, but in terms of that match, oh my God, what the fuck? I don't hate Shazam, by the way. I mean, they had good momentum going into it. I expected them to play pretty well. They had good momentum, like I said, and Koi's been managing them very well. Not that they weren't already a good team without a manager anyway. So just Koi added a little extra something, and the momentum they've been having. Quirky Merch seemed to showcase just a tad bit since the Intergeekdom tournament, because let's face it, to an extent, at least, no one expected Humphrey to beat Janine. Not really. Even though I'm glad I'm not really that glad because I don't get to see much of Janine now. And who knows if Time Machine's going to be the team he's going to throw in. Hopefully they get momentum going. If Time Machine is coming back or not, I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, or what team is it going to be that I'll use the suspects are doing? But regardless of that, we know now Founding Fathers are probably officially the ones that are going to be in the tournament probably. If not, what team is this going to be that's going and moving forward? Because they have to if they want to rack up points. At this point, they have no choice. Yes, I'm going to get to that in a minute too. It's not a good day for Finstock Exchange. It's bad that you start off with a knockout, which who's the boss is... It's clear Riley... It's more the fact that Riley is more pissed about it than anything. And it wasn't exactly Bateman's best game, but given his game isn't as strong, but I do expect him to bring his best now going forward into that match, though I think he might have played his best there and got worn out before the Who's the Boss match, and that's why he didn't play as good, and Riley didn't help as much. And it just saddens me. They shouldn't be a team that should be knocked out. And now because of this is the last thing you see of Who's the Boss, and that's not fair to them, given what legacy they've made, especially with their match in the Shire Wolves, where they definitely proved their worth even more so through that tournament and through that match. And it's just a shame that the Who's the Boss, and yeah, Who's the Boss has not been getting much luck aside from, and even though they did have a couple good, decent matches, but they weren't that strong of matches in comparison to what they were bringing into against the family, and it just hasn't worked in their favor. And it sucks that that's what happened there with that. And it was a good thing that they finally made up for last year with the Odd Couple match before this whole pandemic, which really screwed them up and screwed every momentum, including Finstock Exchanges. But he says he's Mr. October. I don't think that's going to work here with the rest of this season probably being virtual anyway. So he's screwing himself out of that one. So, and I hope he does well. I hope that maybe he can make a comeback, or at least have better momentum going into the teams tournament, or at least whatever is with, or at least at the current moment, Roka braining it in the singles tournament as he should. If he don't, it's probably because Adam Collins being a fan leaguer. Yeah. But then again, he's beaten the past one in Paul Oyama. So, and this time Silverstream may have a shot because she's going up and for next. Like I said, I already said that. Never mind about that stuff. But we shall see how that goes. And Merle did his job so that at least Sabrina could at least showcase she could play. And that whole ordeal was just a weird, messed up fiasco between that and no, Bonnie all of a sudden is getting crap. It's just the people that don't understand how this works. Yeah, it's more like a sports league now, but they don't understand that there's people who don't understand there's still a wrestling aspect, underlining wrestling aspect, and then it just shows that there's an identity crisis. And I think the identity crisis is more the fact of them playing virtual and having to, and this pandemic screwing whatever momentum they could have had to where that could have been completely erased. But we've been getting good matches with these tournaments come this pandemic, despite this pandemic and everything. And but that match was, and Chance, especially given what we wound up seeing in these matches coming up. But I feel like maybe I should talk a little more on that match, because I feel like that match is going to be on the main event match, because it's later, because I believe the main event match will play a part in what's going on. Though it does not work, it makes me wonder if we're going in for Riley's match with Video Drew, if he even did well at all, and if Video Drew might have pulled that up. I don't think it'll come off an upset now, given what we just saw in Who's the Boss match, unfortunately. And it bums me, because of all the people that deserve to really showcase themselves and need the momentum they needed to have to prove something, at least the one thing he needed to prove it in teams, he's never going to get a chance to. And he's got to start completely from scratch probably now, because we'll never get to see Who's the Boss together again. I'd like for them to do so that at least once this pandemic's over, they can make the run they want to have and prove that was a fluke thing and it was just virtual bullshit. But we're never going to get that, are we? because of the way, you know, things are now with this draft and everything. It's such... And who knows what storyline stuff he would have come up with, Christian, but whatever. Shazam, you're fine. Whatever. Though the bully thing was ridiculous, I'm glad we addressed it was ridiculous and not the best choice of words. And luckily, it was all addressed and fixed. But as far as the matches that came out this week, as week 2 of the round 1 of the singles tournament continues, we have, so far, our first match wound up being Mark and Draco with first match tragedy, which was already, though, despite it being edited out later on in an episode that he showed up on Late Kaiser and Ducci, but those who caught it live were already spoiled. 2 round 1 matches results, at the very least, before they even aired, when they were supposed to. And that match was... And that, of course, we already talked about, which was Brandon Meyer versus... That I already talked about, Brandon Meyer versus Alonso Duralde, and Mark and Draco versus his Duralde's former partner, Matt Atchity. Can't just seem to catch a break in singles, you know? Or at least he had a good... Or at least he seems to... Or at least, yeah, he just hasn't caught a good break in singles, and Draco's just that good of a player, and... all that, so he's going to get to show himself there. I think maybe we'll still get Odd Couple going into the team's tournament, by the way. But I'm not even sure of that. Or if she's playing on a completely different team. Because the Wicked hasn't shown enough. It clearly ain't going to be the team. Unless for some strange reason, given what's going on, I'd love it if they tried to mix and match some of the partners. Like, I think Draco and Vejvoda would be an interesting team. If for some reason Snyder is acting as weird as he has been. Though I think he still believes that in what he's doing with that team in the Odd Couple. But ever since the singles match, he's out of it, dude. He's gone. And after that loss with Odd Couple, yeah, I don't even know if he wants to be in this team and even cares anymore. He's like, the league's passed him by. It has with Riley, and I didn't think it would for teams at the very least, and that didn't happen. So and it will become the face if Video Drew beats her. Even though, but now it makes me feel bad that I have to go against him with Video Drew, because now Video Drew winning is more likely that it will happen, and it's just going to be funnier. And if he somehow moves forward into the semifinals, and Tom does, depending on if he can get past Jader. Which, yes, the time match was fucking hysterical. I actually, after seeing the way this came about, I almost with Franco in the sense that of him. I know he says he wants to be best friends, but I want to see him as team partners now. I know where they're going to be at in the standings, but I don't think that matters because Franco still played a damn good game. Anyway, despite missing 3-5, he still had a good game. He didn't play like crap. He played maybe decently, and Tom has proven he's more than beyond decent. Despite and he's getting his redemption after what happened with the Preston thing. It's a shame Preston wasn't able to pull that off, and it bums me. Because, movie guy, one of the half of the other movie guys that isn't part of the dungeon, and it's part of the only other reason why I'll even root for the den, didn't work out, because, that was a tight spot for me. It broke my heart either way. That's one of those heartbreakers for me. This one might have been, but not really that much. I kind of was hoping for Tom, but I wasn't expecting Franco to not put up a fight, and he did. So, and I'm more interested, and he's now become, I guess, more tweener-ish in character since he's part of Quirky Mercs. I guess he's trying to be more face, but he's still got, or at least face with an edge. So, because he's not taking back what he did when he went with the whole corruption ordeal. So that, in terms of storyline, he's at least gone face with an edge. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, oh my gosh. Hold on a second, guys. And we're back. So, in terms of the, and those were funny, and his little, yes, the hands thing was so hysterical. I thought I marked it good on that one, but I guess not. Compared to the other one, I guess. I don't know. But it was funny. His hands thing, and That whole hoodie was funny. Oh man. So funny. But the match, though the following matches were more decisive of what I'm about when I finally get to that main event from this past Friday's Throwdown. This past Friday's Throwdown that's now going to be aired on this current Friday, even though most people are going to wind up talking about more so about the match following this one, even though that match shouldn't be slept on for those who finally get a chance to see it publicly. And especially, I mean, the upset being the sort of upset being of Kalinowski versus Nemiroff, being that Kalinowski was considered more the favorite given his own momentum. Though it seems singles will always remain to be elusive for him because his luck is he's got Mark Riley's current luck now with teams. It is so elusive for him now. He's already conquered teams in IG. Him being in the finals was not a surprise to anybody. Chance being in the finals was more so, but it became less surprising by the time of the semifinals and how Barbarian would play. The way we saw it, no matter who would have won that match, that person going into the semis was more than likely to win. And that which was going to be, it was either going to be, as far as I was concerned, it was going to be Allison or Parker. Of course, I was going to root for my dungeon boy. And I had my issues with Chance, which is why it was very nerve-wracking to see it, and to also have Zipper spoil it, which made him losing to that Who Said It just more heart-wrenching when that happened. But I already talked about that regardless. And he just couldn't pull his 2 and his 3. I wish he pulled his 3 so it would have kept been a little bit more interesting. So Perry would have had to answer her 5. We don't know how she would have been about her 5. But yeah, it was bad. That's when it shifted. It was tied and then it shifted by the point that Kalinowski had lost it, and that 5-pointer was it was worse than what happened. I don't know if I would say it was as bad, if not worse, than what happened the last time he lost in singles. He just can't catch a break in singles. That's the only one of the few times I'll feel bad for him. Is he just can't catch a break in singles. But he does well in every other division, but he can't do singles. The real question is, will that happen to Dan Murrell when he goes in IG next season? That's the real big question of the day. Or will Dan Murrell just still be Dan Murrell like he's always been and do the same in IG? Who knows? Who the F knows? But anyways, Perry moves on. Awaits Mark Riley video Drew. Either one is going to make... Either the way these matches were set up, it's almost like he knew that whoever would have won that would have made an interesting round 2. It's almost feels set up in that way. With this part of the bracket. On the right side, on the right or, I guess, left side from wherever you're watching. I'm sure it's right side because it's my right hand. But anyways. So, and Tom basically faced Jader, Myers, and of course Zipper and Graves await whoever is going to be in the follow-ups from the play-in matches on the corners. But these brackets here. And so Barry basically and waits there, and the match that just aired at the moment of this recording. What a great match before going into this big event match big co-main event. I don't care what Roxy says. And after this, and David DeRoyo showed up, and despite Roxy's mouth, well, she does enough for him. Even though he was already a great player before she even touched him. But she probably, comparatively speaking from what we did get out of his last match, which was against Liz Shannon Miller, which I'm given that, and which that match even on her end wasn't that great either, which is unfortunate. So her and Silverstream are going at it, and on Silverstream, I'm hoping there's a fire lighting on her butt, and she can perform as a great player. And prove whatever she was able to do against Roca, she can do here. Because that Rachel Silverstream might actually stand a chance against Liz Shannon Miller. And I'm hoping Silverstream pulls it out. I won't be mad on either one, but I'd love to see Silverstream finally get her due. You know, because we were hoping for teams, and maybe that'll happen in the teams tournament still. I'm sure the Pride's going to be it. I wish it was Tom and Paul. I really do. And But with Preston not being able to beat Zipper, or at least get TKO'd, it's not looking good on him. But depending on but with Tom, oh my God. But given how it's clear some players just seem to play better not in this virtual format, and more in the studio live setting formats. And that might be what's going up against Riley and Video Drew with her doing her Video Drew thing. Which couldn't face Riley, but I think Riley is just going to be in his own head. And that's what's going to hurt him. And I think that's what's going to lead to Video Drew versus Perry, which will be even more fun. Even more fun with Video Drew's antics. And I would almost, I could see Paul or Marquis pulling it more likely. But I'd love to see I want to actually see Tom versus Video Drew at this point. If she does make it to round 2, I kind of want to see it instead. Though I could see Perry pulling it instead of Video Drew. I don't know. We'll see how this tournament goes on. But yes, Chance and Del Rio. It went to first sudden death of the fucking tournament. And this is the match we get that literally was prior to, even though he screwed up a little bit on the Intergeekdom, which weirdly enough, that question that he pulled and it could have worked in singles as well. So there were clearly Intergeekdom type questions that would sort of fit more in a singles setting, or at least as far as round 2 questions. They're clearly not as in depth as a normal IG tournament slice would be. Clearly a good beginner's Intergeekdom feeling to it. Up until that last question with the Ipkiss thing, which apparently Del Rio got, and he's not an Intergeekdom player. I'm just saying. Which was a 1-point steal, so that helped him. So that might have played a part in helping him. Plus, Masks seems more regular trivia-ish, even though it is based on a comic book, and understandably, but it just seems more regular trivia-ish. And they both get 5-pointers that literally might as well be the opposing player's strength. Chance getting musicals, and them, because they were neck and neck up until they missed their 5-pointers, going into sudden death. Apparently, it was the second question that eventually had stumped David Del Rio, and Chance was able to pull it and get it right. It was a sudden death match, but because this is the round 1 tournament, but it'll probably get passed by the follow-up tournament matches we'll be getting in the later parts of the tournament. So, yeah, overall, well, either way, whoever would have won that would have had Bibiani. White might be in trouble given the way he performed against Frank Moran, but I do believe Bibiani will probably still have it. He'll have good momentum going in, so it's him versus either Barbarian and Cybold. I understand most people having Barbarian, but if Whitney could wind up pulling a comeback player, and what better way to even further prove that than to wind up facing Barbarian? Than to not only beat the one other person that can be touted as who still has a shot at being Rookie of the Year. And this tournament might be the only chance he has now, since he wasn't able to fully do that in IG because of his loss to Chance. And heck, Barbarian probably needs it more because more than likely, depending on who, Chance might still keep going. And Barbarian could get redemption against Chance. This is going to be or at least it's going to be something for Player of the Year. Or at least help him in Rookie of the Year momentum. Unless White can do something by beating Bibbs and then beating and getting us really far in the tournament, surprising everybody. Who knows? Who knows how this tournament is going to play out? It would be crazy if Roca loses, though. Or at least doesn't go farther into the tournament. Or at least, yeah. Because it could be him and Meyer. Or in Draco. Who knows? I mean, that's what's going to make it even more interesting, is the way this may play out. It's starting to get interesting, let me tell you. But this leads, and he's beating himself up because now, speaking of the things that aren't elusive, and you fucking stupid Nat. Please tell me you didn't see that, Nat. Gosh darn it. I'm sorry. Anyways, the main event of that Throwdown, which I'm willing to bet happened and is clearly transpired after these round 1 matches. It's a good match. I'm upset I didn't get a grunge. I'm not going to get a I'm not going to get the 5 of those matches now. Unless somehow Founding Fathers can make the comeback they need and are able to go up again. And if Corruption does manage to have this, keep their momentum going into that spectacular and beat Shazam. Unless Shazam does it, and then Founding Fathers can beat Shazam for the title, as opposed to it having been the other way around from last year's spectacular. Won't that be some poetically crazy thing? Or Shazam defending being even more poetic. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? With that one, but it's gonna be fun. It's the tournament's already getting exciting, and once this big main event thing is done and over with, more likely we'll all be just more interested in what's going on in the tournament at this moment, or at least hopefully everyone will want to catch up on what's going on in the singles tournament and watch those, and maybe catch all the other tournaments that have been happening. Who knows? Maybe they'll only be interested in how this virtual stuff. Hopefully they get to see what the studio and the live matches are like, and they'll love them too. You know? Or at least see the clips show where they can digest it easier. Who knows? Who knows? And it basically boils down to that round 4. Because for the most part, Founding Fathers found a way to be ahead a little bit. Or at least move up ahead a little bit. And in the new round 4, it was clear that experience played a part in this, I think. In that because of because of Chance and that's what was about the end of the IG tournament that wound up being to their advantage, because they got the chance to be the second people involved to play that new round 4 format for virtual matches. And it definitely came to advantage, more so for Kalinowski, who went perfect. Because once others went, I was expecting Myrtle to go perfect too. So at least it wouldn't have been so bad. But that's not what happened. And it seemed Kalinowski did go perfect. I don't think he missed a question at all. There was only one pass, and he didn't answer that question, I don't think. Or he might have missed it, and they would have lost a point. But anyway, or it would have been negated a point. So it would have been interesting to see how... the way they're tallying up, it's a lot harder to figure in. But we'll see how that goes. It's possible we may have a weird thing where they might still keep doing virtual, depending on if there are certain matches they feel like they need to do virtually because they don't want to mess up with schedules or something. Who knows what they'll do? They could do virtual, they could still do in studio and all this other stuff. I think they'd rather do it in studio and do live events. But for what they've been able to do with what they've given, despite people's just bitching, even though it's more likely from people who've been in fan leagues, so that's different. And those people who have been doing virtual long before the Schmoedown have more of an understandable say. That's why this is that whole thing with the hands not being up and everything, not being as enforced, is such a double-edged sword. And I get why Christian has to say what he has. Plus, it's more also the fact that they're not planning on staying virtual for very long. They're hoping by the time this is over, they can go back to doing what they used to do with studios and all this stuff. And hell, they were hoping to still have that with the whole Jericho and that thing, bringing them in. And of course, they had to have a match settled and finally signed, which having them in with the trade-in was necessary to get them in, and it actually made people... Now, that whole thing was amazing. Getting them signed from being free agents to being a part of this. The real question is... It's more the managers at this point than I guess. It's more the manager. Did these managers do well enough in making sure these guys did? Because Jericho probably is not someone to sleep on. I understand most people are picking him as opposed to Smith because he talked a lot. And I'm going to eventually get to finishing that interview that just came on to today. I didn't get a chance because I wanted to see this match so I can talk to you guys about it. So, which was amazing. Watch it if you haven't already. But by the time you're seeing this, you have. What did you guys think of all these matches? And Del Rio will be a sought-after, will be a very, very, very sought-after player in the Schmoedown right now. In the Schmoedown come next season. For sure, he's going to get drafted. Whether or not, if Roxy plans on making sure he stays in the Rockstars, or if someone else picks him up. I'm going to say the quirky mercs are the most likely, of the ones that would fit him in terms of personality, because he's fine with the personality he has. He feels like he would be one of those unchangeable faces types. I don't know how he would play it to being heel. If he does decide to be in a team that would be kind of on the fence about it, but still more on the face side, despite Chandu, yes, I'm talking about Swag. More than likely, I think he'd love to have been on Swag because especially with their momentum currently. He could wind up with corruption, but especially he might be crossing his mind potentially. But you think he wants to stay in the Rockstars. He's loved it because it brought something out of him. And maybe, hopefully, Roxy can nail him down before somebody else does, and hopefully whoever it is. More than likely, it'll be Coy with the quirky mercs. Whoever the hell's going to take over Burning Druids, or if Ken is going to stay manager, he'll probably turn it into the Knights of Ken. Let's face it, that's what it's going to be. Unless they get Robert Meyer Burnett to come back. And hopefully get things squared off and that everything's finally died down by the time he's come back. So we shall see. We shall see. But I don't know if Skybound can. I know Christian will forgive more than everyone else in the more toxic aspect of the fandom. I'm still pissed about that whole thing, and I know someone else that's in my dungeon who, let's face it, was more Burning Jude, but she really hopped onto my dungeon a lot more since then. But I love you anyway, girl. You were still with us with Dungeon, and I can't wait for Hell. I would love to see if Nico could at least show up in it too. I don't know if they might put in a new manager and make it 10 managers now and change the game there. And who could it be? I'd love it if Ken still stayed and done that. I don't know if maybe they'll still be Burning Druids and they are going to just, unless that turns back into the heroes and villains, if Jay comes back in. I doubt I think he'll be too busy anyway, but depending on if this pandemic keeps going, but who knows. Anyways, what did you think? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown rocks, Sky Entertainment, and so on and so forth, is cooking. Ooh, yeah, dig it.